Welcome, and thank you for stopping by the Crafting Country Bumpkin channel. My name is Christy, and today we'll be making this cute bunny using our knitting machines. Hope you enjoy the video. Material list will be in the description below. Cast on for the head, leaving a tail, and crank 24 rows. Color change for the sweater with your choice of color. I'm using the jogless join stitch here. So you'll just hold your tails tight and crank about 4 to 5 rows and tie your tails. And then crank a total of 15 rows for your sweater. Sorry guys, I forgot to tell you I'm using the Addie 46 here. For the body and the inside color, change back to your main color and crank 61 rows or until your counter reaches 100. And don't forget to tie your tails. Real quick, if you don't have a hole in your table, you can roll your yarn up just like this into a donut shape, and that'll keep you from dropping stitches. We're doing a long tail cast off here. Just thread your needle with your long tail and crank your machine so far to the right. I do it like this because it's easier for me. Just make sure when you do this, always pull your yarn toward you, not away from you. And if you do pull away from you, be careful to not pull your stitches off here. Just finishing up casting off here. And once you get your project off, please stretch it all ways, long ways and widthwise. Using your Addie 22, we're going to cast on for the arms, or in the paw or hands, and you're going to crank 4 rows for your hand or paw, and then you're going to change your color, and that's for your sleeve or your arm, whichever one you want to call it, and crank 20 rows, and then you will do a cast off with your yarn needle. And don't forget to make 2 arms and stretch your work when you take it off. For your ears, you'll be casting on with your ear color, and you're going to crank 20 rows, and then you'll cast off with your needle. Oh, sorry guys, here I had a little snag, but make 2 ears. I had a little boo-boo here when I cast it off, so please don't cast off like this. I'm wrong here, but it does work for me. I will make another ear here and show you the correct way. and here I'll be casting off the correct way. And for your feet, you'll be casting on with your feet color, and you will be cranking 12 rows, and then you'll just cast off with your needle again, and just make sure you make two feet. We'll be casting on some waste yarn here for our scarf, and you'll crank about 5 to 7 rows. And for your scarf here, I'm cranking 30 rows with my solid color, and then I'll switch to my stripe color, and I'll crank 5 rows. If you don't want to do 2 colors in your scarf, just go ahead and crank 100 rows total, and just cast off with some waste yarn. But the way I'm doing mine is 30 solid, 5 stripe, and go all the way to your counter reaches 100 rows, and then you will cast off with waste yarn. Yep. Alrighty, here we're using our Sentro 40, but you can use your Addie 46. It'll just make your little beanie a little bit wider. Casting on with waste yarn, crank about 5 to 7 rows. And then I'm going to take my top of my beanie color, which will be my multicolor, and I'm going to crank 25 rows. And then I will change my color, and that'll be my blue, which will be my brim and my inside of my beanie, and I'm going to crank 30 rows, and this is going to give me a total of 55 rows. So if you don't want to do any color changes and you want a solid beanie, just crank 55 rows. Just remember to start with waste yarn and end with waste yarn for this little beanie. And don't forget to stretch your work. I keep forgetting to tell you guys to stretch your work, but I'm hoping and praying most of you know what you're doing. And if you don't, I apologize greatly. Just make sure you always stretch your work. When you get to 55 rows, you will cast off with waste yarn and crank 5 to 7 rows. Sorry guys, my yarn had kinks in it or knots. I don't know, it's coming out of the skein like that, so it's taking me a little longer to do this than normal. And I did speed up the video a little bit to help with time. I know it's a long video, so if you've made it this far and you're hanging in there with me, I do appreciate you guys. Comment in the comments below that you're still here. Give me a wave or say hi. Just let me know you're still here with me. I'd appreciate it. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. I apologize. I do know what I'm doing. It's just been a while, and I'm I've never done one of these videos, so it's just taking me a little bit to get back into the game here. Thank you, guys. All right, now it's time to begin our assembly. And you're going to take your ears and you're going to cinch both ends. Going to put your yarn tail on your needle. And you're going to reinforce both ends. Just go through the little loops right there, just like that, all the way around. You can actually go around 2 times, and that'll help support and reinforce those ears on the tips, especially if little kids are going to play with this. So you just want to reinforce everything you do. Just stick a couple stitches in the base here for the bottom of your ear. This is going to help shape your ear. And I put a little stitch in the top as well. And that just kind of helps make my point in the top of the ear as well. And I don't show you here for some reason, but we will. I'll come back to it, I promise. All right, and for your feet, just cinch both ends shut, reinforce both ends, just like you did your ear. And after you do that, run that tail through to the center, to the other side, cinch your other side, reinforce those ends. I was hoping the video would be a little faster. All right, now we're going to flatten it out, kind of like a pancake or a disc. And then you run both of your tails through to one side, through the center. What this does is going to help hold your little foot flat. Okay, here we are back at the ear. What I'm doing here is I'm making it where it's going to be flat on the bottom. This is going to help you with your sewing it to the hat and keep it from being so bulky at the bottom. And then I put that stitch at the top there that made that little V in the top. All right, with your arms, cinch both ends shut. You're at your paw end and at your arm end or your sleeve end. And then you're going to reinforce both ends. All right, now take your little arm, pick a good side and fold it. And make sure your little V's are all laying the same way. It doesn't matter if you got your wide parts at the bottom or at the top. I had mine at the bottom. And then I'm just going to take and make a couple little stitches here on our paw and kind of help hold it in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'll mattress stitch it shut. And what that is you just go up between your V's and you catch 2 stitches on each side and crisscross. 2 stitches on one side, back across to the other side, 2 stitches on that side. And once you get about 4 or 5 stitches, you pull it and it magically hides those stitches. And if you need more information on mattress stitches, there are plenty of YouTube videos to show you how to do it. It's super simple and it's amazing. Alrighty, this is our little beanie, and we're going to take it and we're going to pull our inside to the inside, which was my solid color. And I'm going to make sure it's all flat and laid out even, and I'm going to get my stitches inside here all lined up. And what I'm going to do is take stitch markers, and I'm going to stitch mark my first and my last stitch together. I just place one on one side and one on the other side until I get ready to put them together. And then you'll see me here in just a second. I'll take the stitch marker out and make sure I hook both stitches together. That just kind of helps me get started and keeps me in line for a little bit. All right, thread your needle with your long tail. And what we're going to do is just go through one stitch from one side to the other, back and forth, catching every stitch. And you don't have to pull it tight just yet. That way, if you do miss a stitch, you can take it back out easier. and just go from one stitch to the other. I wished I'd have zoomed in here, and I apologize I didn't. But you kind of get the gist of it. I'm just going back and forth, making sure I'm catching each stitch all the way around. Alrighty, we're back here at the front. I'm just going around making sure I got all my stitches caught. And then I'm snugging my line just a little bit, my tail. But don't over snug it, because if you over tighten it, you're going to gather the top of your little beanie. And you really don't want it gathered. You'll see me stretch it back out here in just a second, because I do have it gathered a little bit. But you want to remove your waste yarn. Make sure you caught all your stitches before you do it. But just removing your waste yarn. And this end here, or this side, is the one you have to pull the stitch to get it to release. And if you're not sure what I've done here, just go watch a couple of other people's videos. There are super people out there who explain every little detail. Koala Knits, I cannot remember her full thing. She's awesome. Go watch her. She has amazing stuff. She super well explains things. Go check her out. She's really, really good. But here I'm just removing all my waste yarn. And once I get it all removed, I'm on the simple side here, and it looks like I'm making a mess. I'm trying not to. But this side comes out fairly easy. Alright, and once you get all your waste yarn removed, I just cut my tail a little shorter. And now I'm just going to tie the little tails. And make sure your hat's not gathered at the top. And just tie it shut. And then you're going to just hide your tails down in between your layers of your little beanie. Just checking to see how my ears look laying in it. But that's what we're going to do. Alright, grab your scarf and go ahead and put your stitch markers in to show your first and last stitch here. And that also helps hold it and keeps you from losing those stitches on the end. And grab your 4mm crochet hook. Since we've done this on the Addie 22, you're going to count around to 12 and start on your 12th stitch. And you're just going to pull each stitch in like a slip stitch. So you'll go from one side to the other and count and make sure you catch every stitch until you get to 22. And at the end, you will just pull that loose tail through the last loop, and that kind of holds your stitches so you don't lose them and drop them. And I apologize again, I should have zoomed in here, bear with me. But go check out some, you can look that up though, about how to close your ends on the circular knitting projects, and it'll show you there's some good ones out there. And when you're done, just remove your waste yarn. And this one is the end. You have to pull the top layer loose first to get it to come out. And I just hold mine kind of to the side like that, and it just lets everything fall. And that helps keep it from getting tangled. And there you have your pretty little end. And now we're going to do the other end. And this is the easy end, because me and the other end fight all the time. I don't know why, but I do fight with it. So, but this one's easy. Count around to your 12. Go in that 12th stitch. Go to your right and start on your right side and pull your stitch. Go to the left, pull your stitch, go to the right, pull your stitch. It's just a slip stitch, that's all it is. All right, and there's your pretty closed end. And now I'm just going to hide my tails down in the center of my scarf. All right, now we're going to take the body and the head. This is going to be made just like a beanie. I'm going to pull my longer end in because that's my inside and my bottom of my bunny, his belly, I guess you could call it. And the top part here is going to be your head. And you're just going to go ahead and cinch that center one shut, just like you do a beanie. Reinforce the ends by going around each stitch there. And you can do twice. It's up to you how many times you want to go around and reinforce. I think I go twice around. I think that's how many times I go. And then just tie a knot. And then you're just going to make sure that tail hangs out. And you're going to cinch shut the outer portion. Oh, I'm checking my stitches to make sure I got everything tied. And I'm going to trim some off that need to be trimmed. And just go ahead and make sure everything's laid out flat and cinch that outside up. And we're going to reinforce that end as well. And once you get done with the reinforcement, just pull on everything, push everything up in, make sure that inside layer is up tight next to your outside layer, and just go ahead and sew through. I catch just a little bit of that inside beanie part. That way it does help hold it up snug. And then just tie your knots. And then I'm going to cut my thread off because it's so long here. I think I do. No, I didn't. But anyway, you're just going to hide your ends down through the center between the two layers. And just cut that off. And then if you have a long enough tail, you can use that tail to use as your cinch for your neck here. And all we're going to do here is double that piece up. Excuse me. Double the piece up of your yarn. And I'm going to start on the back side of my bunny's body. And going just above the shirt color or the sweater color and below the neck color there. I'm going in and out, over and under. And I'm catching each stitch around. So over one set of stitches, under the next set of stitches. Over one stitch, or a set of stitches, and under the next. And I'm going all the way around to create the cinch part for his neck. All right, now grab your stuffing and go ahead and stuff that head, and stuff it very firm. Don't overstuff. If you overstuff, you'll see your stitches starting to separate a little bit. So if you see that, go ahead and pull some of that stuffing back out. And it's just regular Pollyfil that I bought at Walmart. And go ahead and cinch your neck tight. And I leave a little hole inside there just in case I decide I want to stuff more in my head. It holds it enough. It's not going to let it come out. But it's a small hole in there that I can actually still stuff more in. Because once you cinch that neck, sometimes you look at it and you're like, I think I can get a little bit more in there. So that's what I do. Put more in, and then you're going to stuff your body. And once you get your body stuffed, take you another piece of yarn, long piece of yarn, and you're going to thread it through over, under, each stitch around, all the way around the bottom of your bunny. And just make sure you get your stuffing all in there, and you're going to pull it. And I'm going to go around one more time. I'm going to go ahead and tie a little knot, a loose knot, because you don't want to tie a tight knot because you still want it to cinch. And I'm going to stuff more in there. And then I'm going to go ahead, like I said, I'm going to go around one more time. And that'll help bring that in and close it up on the bottom. Go over, under, over, under. You don't have to be so precise with this one. I'm just kind of going through the stitches all the way around until I pull on it and it cinches just like I like it on the bottom. So you can go as many times as you want until it cinches closed really good for you. All right, tie her off, and we're going to hide our tails up inside our bunny. All right, we're going to hide our tails up inside for our neck. If you wanted to, you could take that stitch and go around again and hide those bulging stitches. But since we're going to put a scarf on this bunny, I didn't do it because it's going to be hidden anyway. And then kind of shape him up there and make him look good. And I probably could have stuffed his head some more by the looks of it. But it's all right. He's cute. All right, and grab your arm and thread that tail. And we're going to go I'm finding my back here. And I'm trying to figure out my side that where I want to put my arm. And I go just below the neck and above the sweater. And I grabbed up 2 stitches. And then you're just going to go back through and grab your arm. And go through, grab a couple stitches when you do it. Grab 2 or 3 and go back and forth all the way up and down your arm. Now you can lay your arm down flat or you can leave it up sideways. I left mine sideways. So I just go up on the neck some too and catch it. That way it just reinforces it and holds it. And just go down the back and go to where that other thread is. And I always just do a tie off right in the back. Right there. Yep, that's where I'm going to do my tie off. And just hide your tail. And then grab your other arm. And I forgot to cut my white tail off, so you can just cut that off. And then just go to the other side and catch 2 threads, or 2 stitches there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my bunny up, and I'm going to look and make sure my arms are lining up on each side. And then once I got it where I like it, then I'm going to go ahead and stitch her down. Alrighty, grab your feet. And we're going to stick our feet on the bottom here, and we're just going to sew them. Now you can pull them and stretch them and make them oval, and then you can sew them on just like, making them oval. And what I do is I leave my toes hanging loose. So I stitch the foot all the way around, but I don't stitch it out on real far out on the toes. That way my toes actually hang down just a little bit. So you want to just stitch your foot all the way up to your body. See, I come out further on the foot and go all the way around my body, catching several stitches at a time. And then I'm actually catching the back of my foot there and coming back around. So, and you'll see my front of my foot is hanging loose. I don't actually sew it to the body. So that way, if you want to put little claws on the front of the bunny, you can. And just sew your other foot just like you did your other one. And just come out further on the back of the foot. That way you're catching the whole foot. And go all the way around. And just make sure you catch several stitches up on your body. And when you're done, I'll just take that extra piece of yarn there and I tie my knots in. And then I just hide my stitches up inside my bunny's belly. Alright, grab your beanie and your 2 ears. And get your beanie and figure out which side you want to be your front. And I forgot to cut my tails off my ears, so go ahead if you didn't. Just go ahead and hide them inside your ear and just trim them off because you're not going to need them. We're going to use a blue colored piece of yarn, just like my beanie has on it, to sew all that shut. And just lay your ear in there, and on both of them, lay them both down in there, and figure out where you want them. I leave a little bit out on each side, and then I'll have a couple stitches in between the ears. So just start going through, leaving a tail on the end, and then go back through. That kind of holds that tail steady there. And then once I get 2 to 3 stitches, I'm going to go ahead and stick one of my ears in. And I'm going to make sure I catch my ear on both sides. Make sure your hat is the same on both sides as well. And just go back and forth through your ear. Alright, go ahead and put your other ear in. And do your center stitches there. I think I've got 1 or 2. And then I catch the edge of that ear. And then go back and forth just like you did the other one. And lay it down and make sure the back of your beanie is not higher than the front of your beanie here. And just make sure everything's level and even. And just stitch it all the way. And then you'll have that little piece on the end there that you're going to stitch a couple stitches in as well. You can tie a knot here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the back of my beanie, making sure I don't go all the way through, but I'm going through the 2 layers, and I run my tail all the way back to the other side, where that tail is on the other side. Just make sure you don't snug it tight, because you don't want to cinch up your beanie. And then I get my 2 tails together and I tie a knot. Just don't tie it too tight, because like I said, you'll cinch your beanie up. And then just hide your tails. And that's how I tie it off. That way it's even more secure. And then hide that tail down in there. Alrighty, place the beanie on your bunny. You can leave it down like that. You don't have to roll the brim up, but I do. And what I do here is I'm putting the beanie on anyway because I want to judge where I'm going to put my eyes. So there's our bunny. Cute. There we go. Now we're going to put the beanie back on and we're going to judge where we're going to put those eyes. And yep, I think I got it right there. I think that's where I want it. Yep. And then I take my black thread for my eyes and I'm going to come on one side and go all the way through and kind of eyeball where you want your eye to be. And I go right below my ear there on the inside. I'm using the inside line of my ear to start my eye. And I'm trying to make a slanted eye because, you know, bunnies have a slanted oval olive, or an olive, ain't it? A almond shape eye. But once I did that, I was like, well, it kind of looks beady. So I quit trying to do the almond shape and I just went with a wider shape, but a little bit slant. And it looks a little funny, so bear with me. I promise it looks good at the end. So just bear with me because I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So I'm making sure my eyes are going to be the same. I'm coming back over to where that tail is at, or on the side of the tail. And then I'm going to start my other eye, and I'm going to do my little slant. And I about slanted that one a little more than the other one, but I fix it. So everything looks normal at the end. All right, once you have your eyes looking the way you want them, of course, like I said, my eyes weren't perfect, but I was like, okay, I'm going with this. I hope it don't look like an alien, because it looked like an alien. But go ahead and tie your tail, making a knot there, and you're going to pull it through to the back, and that's going to pull that knot down into the yarn between the stitches, and you won't see it. So we're going to go ahead and go with our nose, go to the side, go to the very corner of the center eye, and then the corner of this eye, and then you're just going to go back and forth. I tried to make a wider nose at the top and slimmer at the bottom. So as I was doing it, it almost looked like a Sesame Street nose, one of the Muppets nose. And I really wasn't going for that, but it kind of gave me that vibe. So, but it worked out. It looks fine at the end. But I was worried that it wasn't. So, but you can do your nose any way you want to do them. You can do your eyes any way you want to do it. This is just something maybe to inspire you to do it the way you want to do it. So just bear with me. I promise it looks good in the end. Alrighty, grab you a piece of black. We're going to do our mouth. We're going to go to the center of the nose. And I count down about 4 to 5 stitches. And I go back up to the end of the nose there and pull up. And it makes our mouth. And then I go back down through. And I go at a little bit of a slant. I lay my needle on there. And I see how I want to make it. About 2 stitches of a slant is what I go over. Kind of diagonal. And I make the bottom of the mouth. And I lay my needle there, kind of eyeballing to make sure it's going to look good. Now, you can pull it tighter than I did here. and pull it up in a little bit more to make his mouth draw up. I should have made it pull up a little tighter, but I didn't. So just tie that knot the same way you did the eyes and pull it through and hide it. Now we're going to take a piece of our head yarn color and we're going to go out about 2 stitches away from the eye, and I'm going to go all the way through to the back. I'm going to come back around and catch that other tail, catching a little bit of another stitch, and go through and pull. And what this is going to do is it's going to create your little pudgy cheeks. And once you're happy with how deep it is, after you pull your first knot, go around and look and see and pull it the way you want it. And then tie a knot and cinch it off. And hide. Well, you can just tie a knot and pull it, make sure that it's the way you want it. And then go do your other cheek the same way. 2 stitches out from your eye. And then I pull it through the back and pull it and tie a knot. And I go look again, making sure I got them the way I want them. They look like dimples. And just tie your knots. And then just hide your tails on your back of your head. See there? I told you he turns out. He's cute. You might not think so, but I thought he was a cute little bunny. So anyway, you can go ahead and put your hat back on. And you can put stuffing inside his hat if you want to. I started to, and then I took it back out because I didn't want it in there. But I do take and I tack down my hat. I tack it down on each side, and then I tack it down in the back up under the hat where you don't see it. That way you don't have to fuss with that hat popping off all the time. All right, and there's our bunny. And then I'm going to roll it up, and I think I tack it down. Yep. Nope, I just rolled it up. Okay. But now to make the tail. This is my Clover 65, the biggest one that comes in the Clover. I'm not going to show you how to make the whole tail because I'm assuming everybody knows how to make a pom-pom. If you don't, please go check out those other videos. There are plenty of people out there with them. So here's our tail, our cute tail. And we're just going to tie it to the base of that sweater. Just go through and catch 2 or 3 stitches. And that way it's on there pretty snug, maybe 4. I done 4 stitches. So go catch 4 stitches. I even go up through my tail and catch that tie stitch that I tied my tail together with. That way it reinforced it and held it on him better. And you'll see me do that here in just a second. I go ahead and tie a knot and get her snug. And it was still a little loose, so I decided I was going to try to wrap it. And I thought, nope, I'm going to go up through this tail, and I'm going to catch that, that piece that was inside there. And then you'll have to just pull your threads back out once you do that. And go ahead and tie your knot. I tie 2 or 3 knots. Now it's more snug. Oops. And just hide your tail. All right, there's our bunny. And I'm going to set him over there out of the way, and I'm going to grab our scarf. Now, you can leave your scarf flat and wrap it around him. But I fold mine in the center, and I wrapped it around him, and I took a piece of blue yarn, and I make 1 little stitch up under there. I catch a couple. But I just stitch it together. That way it doesn't keep falling off of him. All right, guys, here's our bunnies. I flopped that one's ear over because that yarn didn't stand as good as the other yarn that I used. If you want to use the little pom-pom thing, well, it can make those little pom-poms if you want pom-poms on your side of your beanie. The difference in this yarn made my one bunny look a little bit bigger, and I also made the other bunny with smaller arms and smaller ears. So, and I was playing with those pieces of yarn to make him look like he had glasses. So it's up to you if you want glasses or not. And my beanie was made different too. It was like 50 rows instead of 55. But I hope you liked the video. I hope it inspires you to make your own bunny. And I hope you like, subscribe, and share. And please come back, guys. Please come back to visit me. And let me know if you want to see more of these videos. This is my first circular knitting machine. So come back, guys.